Welcome back to Light the Fuse, the only Mission Impossible podcast on the internet, and therefore the greatest.
Yes, absolutely the best.
Drew Taylor, joined once again by Charles Hood.
Hello.
And what a theme. What a theme.
Yes, Kevin Blumenfeld. He's a really great composer. Composed that theme for us. Does the music for all of my movies. He's awesome. And again, we want to issue a statement to Paramount and whoever owns the rights to the music to the original Mission Impossible to go ahead and try to sue Kevin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's a great composer. He's also got a great legal team. So come on.
Bring it on.
So today we are talking about Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Yes.
Initial thoughts
revisiting it? I was so when I saw this in theaters at the opening night at the Chinese theater.
Yeah, I was there.
And I remember I thought that the movie, because Ghost Protocol had been shot with IMAX cameras, there were some IMAX sequences, and they had sort of sold it like in a similar way. So I thought this one was going to have IMAX sequences. Mm-hmm. So there was a little bit of disappointment when we saw it in IMAX at the Chinese theater, and I left the theater being a little bit miffed.
Yeah.
But I still really, I loved the movie. It was great, but it was like there was just a little bit of, I was irked.
Yeah.
And I probably watched it once on video after that, and now this was probably the third or maybe fourth time I've seen it. And I was really, really impressed.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten or just didn't realize how really great this movie is.
It's really great. I think it suffers a little bit from the fact that it was sort of made up as they went along.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, I feel like
from the production of it.
Yeah, there's a great.
They sort of had the set pieces first, and then they kind of built a script around it as they were shooting, almost.
Yeah,
even.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like maybe even with Ghost Protocol that was the case.
Yeah, there's a great 2.5 hour interview with McQuarrie from Empire where he talks about all this, and it sounds like the most insanely frustrating way to make a movie, but it turned out to be a great movie. I think the last act is something that was changed radically during production.
Right.
And we can talk about that later, but. I'm not really sure I understand the movie at all.
The plot?
The plot, yeah.
No, I mean, I can sort of follow it.
Okay, why don't you describe it to me? Let's see if you can tell me.
It's a little complicated. I mean, I guess there's the Syndicate.
Which is the anti-IMF.
The anti-IMF.
They have the same technology.
Yes, and he is causing these terrorists. He's doing horrible things.
Yeah,
blowing
but they're all
planes and things, and I'm not sure what his reasoning is.
Yeah. It sounded like he was trying to get that. At the end, we figure out that
they're financed by MI6.
Yeah,
right?
It was sort of a project that went crazy, but
right.
And they're always after this code thing that he takes from this vault or whatever.
Right.
So is he just trying to get the rest of the money, or?
I think you're worried too much about the plot. I think you should just have fun, and just kick back, enjoy it. I don't know what the problem is here.
As long as there's no problem with me not understanding it. There's no judgment in here?
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care if you don't get it.
Great. Do you get it?
Yeah, of course I get it. We're good.
I think moment to moment you're sort of invested, but then you kind of take a couple steps back and you're like, huh?
Yeah. That's a good summary. No, I really do. I think the movie's great. I think it's another really great entry. For me, I think the first movie and Ghost Protocol and then this.
Yeah.
Are kind of my top three.
Yeah.
Until we dissect Fallout.
Yeah.
In a more.
Can't wait. And Fallout is 3D.
Is it?
It's the first Mission Impossible that's 3D.
Oh.
McQuarrie.
I'm not a big fan of 3D.
No.
I don't. Do they shoot actually in 3D or do they post convert?
They're post convert because McQuarrie put up a picture. Yeah. Okay.
That's not. I'm not that excited about that.
All right. Well, okay.
Let's talk about the cold open.
Right here, cold open. Yeah.
So I read that Cruise's gray suit is a nod to Roger Thornhill in North by Northwest.
Oh wow.
Which is awesome.
Also, he had a gray suit in Collateral.
Yes, it is a similar gray suit there as well. But it was supposedly a reference to Roger Thornhill, which I think is really cool. It's another Hitchcock reference from the series. Tom Cruise actually did this insane plane stunt, as I'm sure most people know.
Right.
Because they made a big deal out of it. I'm going to say something maybe that isn't the
floor is yours.
I feel like if I didn't know it was real, if they didn't advertise that it was real, I don't know if I would have thought that it was.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like they only had that one shot of him from the plane, and I kind of wish they got some more angles.
Right.
I know it's one continuous shot, so it feels more real, and I know that it's real, but I wonder if I would have... If I didn't know that it was real because they didn't advertise it, would I have just thought it was a blue screen shot?
Right. We're kind of reaching that
I feel
point.
like I don't know. I hate to say it, but could they have staged it in a better way?
with
To
CG.
Yeah, or not with not with CG. I don't want CG, but I just mean, why didn't they get more angles of this?
Yeah.
And I wonder if it was probably a safety issue.
Yeah. Because it looks like it's locked. It's
Like
on the outside of the.
Could they have? I don't know how. I'm sure it's a safety thing. If you could have flown another plane nearby or helicopter
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
and gotten a shot of him on, I don't know. Maybe it would have looked fake, or I don't know. But I do wonder, because it doesn't feel the same as the Dubai sequence.
No, it
like
doesn't.
the Dubai sequence is just takes the air out of your lungs. You're just like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
And this doesn't quite do that as much. It's impressive, and I know that it's real, so it's impressive. It's very impressive. But I kind of almost wish they had staged it differently or gotten the camera closer to him or something.
How do you?
Because it's so far away from him too.
Yeah.
That it doesn't, or maybe a longer lens. But then
I
maybe
just
you
think-
don't see the surroundings as much if you do that. So it's tough.
Well, maybe it's just because there's not a lot of buildup. It's like literally him running through a field and jumping on an airplane.
Yeah, compared to the intro in Ghost Protocol that he gets.
Yeah.
Ethan Hunt's introduction is so great in Ghost Protocol. In this one, there's some talk, and then he kind of just runs into the frame and he's there.
Right.
And it's.
But also the Burj Khalifa scene, it sort of had its own little arc too of him getting out and over and back and all of that. So
Right.
this was just kind of a.
And this sequence ends with that great. There's a look from Cruise.
Yeah, I love
where
that.
he gives him a little look and then pulls the shoot or whatever. And that I feel like that is sort of that's the humor now that they've defined for the series.
Yes.
Those looks from Cruise, like that's kind of what I think Ghost Protocol really nailed. I think they tried to do a little bit in 3, but I think 3 takes itself a little more seriously.
Yeah.
And I think Ghost Protocol and now this one have really gotten into this little kind of wink to the camera.
It's almost Indiana
Cruise...
Jones-ish in the sense that he's a hero who can screw up or not know what he's doing, but still get the job done.
But it's also plays on the humor of like that Ethan Hunt is this insanely masterful spy who can do anything.
Yeah.
And so there's like
there's a line later, right? Like, I've heard the stories, they can't all be true, when he's in the record store. Yeah.
The woman who works at the record store says that.
Which is great.
So it's like, they've built the legend of Ethan Hunt up so much at this point.
Yeah.
And now they're like self-reflexive about it.
What do we think of the opening titles?
So I think the title sequence is wonderful.
Yeah, I think forgotten how good it was.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'd put it up there with 1 and Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
As one of the best title sequences. They even snuck in the Impossible Missions Force folder.
Right.
The black folder with the gold lettering that's from the old show.
Yeah.
Which none of the other movies had done that.
Yeah.
And so that's so cool that they did that. I think that the sequence itself is edited really well.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of the old show. Joe Kramer's music is really great.
Yeah. What's interesting too is that there's a main on end also.
Yeah. And at the end they have the closing credits title sequence with a red animated fuse outlining the characters and the motorcycles and everything.
Yeah,
it's
I thought that was great.
Which none of the other ones had done that.
No, they've never done a main
and
on
that was
end.
really cool. But the title sequence, I have to say, I want to talk about Joe Kramer's music.
So good.
Because wow, I don't know if I realized it the first time I saw it, but really watching this time I realized how great this is. The title theme, when the main title sequence version of the theme is my second favorite, I think, to Danny Elfman's in the first one.
Because you like when he hits it hard.
Yeah, he hits it hard.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't think that Giacchino really did that. He got too cute with it.
Yeah.
And I love that Joe Kramer really went with it. And he also, Joe Kramer is Christopher McQuarrie's guy.
Yeah.
He's done, I think, all of his movies as a director.
Yeah, Reacher.
He did Way of the Gun.
Yeah.
He did some really great music for that. I think he uses that secondary Lalo Schifrin theme, the plot.
Yeah.
I think he uses it more than probably any of the other composers. I counted 5 times.
He uses it as kind of almost a military march type.
Yeah, which like Elfman did and Giacchino did, and like they did a great job with it too. But he really leans on it as a theme, as a main theme, and it's like he did it. He uses it in the opera sequence. He uses it when Hunt and Benji go to that gadget boat thing.
Right.
He uses it when they initially go to Morocco. He uses it inside the facility they break into in Morocco, and then he uses it again when they're scanning the Prime Minister's eyes. So at least 5 times I counted that theme coming in there, which was really cool.
So what do we think about the way that he gets his mission or anti-mission in this one? Because I think that's the scene after the credits.
Well,
right?
I thought that was cool because it's like a reference to the pilot.
Right. Which
yeah, he gets his mission from a record store.
Right.
With like an elaborate code with the employee, and it just seems like it's like a direct reference to the pilot, which is so cool. And then also it's cool that this time it's been hijacked by the syndicate.
Yeah.
So it's like a fun way of playing with the usual way of him getting the mission this time.
Right. Then another somewhat flavorless villain appears and murders the record store employee.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the villains if you want. I think, to me, it's weird because it seems like Sean Harris kind of looks like Simon Pegg's evil twin brother, almost. Or, like, maybe not twin brother, but evil brother. I don't know, like, am I crazy?
No,
Doesn't he kind of look like Simon Pegg?
Yeah.
So
that could have been
it's
an
a little-
interesting
It could have been a revelation.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be in Fallout. Maybe that's what we'll find out. He's his evil brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about the villains in this series, that the movies are always more focused on other things, on the team and on Hunt, and so the villain kind of gets the shaft a little bit. So this time, there's Sean Harris, who's I think he's good.
He's a good actor.
He's a good actor. He does a good job with it. It's just, it's another kind of weird motivation, or I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin is kind of a bad guy in this movie.
He is.
I mean, he ends up
He's an
being
antagonist,
good, but he's a bad guy, and he's great.
Yeah.
So that was fun. There's one of the like thugs' name is the Bone Doctor.
Yeah.
He's kind of fun. I like that.
It was nice to give. I like when they give sort of secondary villains quirks. Like Eddie Marsden is in the third movie, and I don't even think he has any dialogue.
Right.
It's like
Yeah. But this that gave him a little character. I like that.
Yeah, it kind of like harkens back to Die Hard or something. Where
Mm-hmm.
you know the second
I thought that was
command
cool.
guys. Yeah.
I like that. And then just the idea of the syndicate, which is from the old show as well.
Right.
Is really is a cool thing to bring in. I mean, I think in the old show, the syndicate was more just the mob.
Yeah.
But
And
this
that was
time
when
they
they
create the syndicate as this new the idea is that it's the anti-IMF.
Because that went along with them being more grounded in the United States, right? During
Right.
budget cuts later.
Yeah, the later seasons. Yeah.
Well, can we talk about Alec Baldwin's introduction? Because that is great. The references to the first. He was in the CIA during the vault heist from the first movie.
Yeah, he references the Langley heist from the first movie. He references the Russian warhead landing in the San Francisco Bay.
Yeah.
And he references the Kremlin blowing up.
Yeah.
Which are all from Ghost Protocol. And I thought it was interesting, too, that in that scene, Renner says the IMF has operated without oversight for 40 years.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, why not 50? Because it came out in 2015, right?
Right, yeah.
And the original show started in 1966. So why only 40 years?
Does
it just sound better than 50?
I don't know.
The IMF has been operated without oversight for 40 years. So it started in the 70s. But why not? Because it's a reference to the show? I don't know. I was like, why not the 66? That's when the IMF started.
Yeah.
I don't
In
know.
our internal logic.
I was just,
Isn't there also a rabbit foot on somebody's keychain?
There's a rabbit's foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a reference to
Yeah.
the third movie. I noticed there's no drop and hang reference. Nobody drops and hangs like the Langley and
No, he just drops into that whirlpool.
maybe that's the
That
sort of
reference,
because
yeah.
the water stops him.
Right.
I'd have to look and see again if he kind of stops in the pose of the drop and hang.
So basically,
There are a lot of references.
like what else?
To to the whole series. It seems to
Okay,
like
well,
all
like
of them.
what?
Well, the other one that's great is the Bravo Echo 1-1.
Oh, yeah.
When Hunt calls in, he says
Yeah.
Bravo Echo 1-1, and it's a reference to the first movie, which is in the first movie he calls in when everything goes wrong, and
Right,
it says
to
Bravo
Kittredge.
Echo 1-1, and the whole back and forth between him is verbatim. It's the same dialogue from the first movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw there's a little featurette that I watched that is all about this, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. It's the same exact dialogue, word for word, but in the first movie, it's from Cruz's point of view at the phone booth, going through the protocol back and forth, Bravo
Right.
Echo 1-1-1, whatever. And then in this movie, you don't see Hunt. It's all from the point of view of the telephone operator
Okay.
giving the commands back. So
That's
it's like
great.
I didn't realize that it was the whole dialogue word for word.
That's
which
awesome.
which is really cool.
Got it. Is this on the digital version?
I think so. Yeah, I think I watched it on Vudu, and they had little
Featurettes.
featurettes there. And
All right. Well, shout out to featurettes.
yeah.
So this is Hunt in a different kind of capacity that we've seen him. He's hiding from the IMF and the CIA,
Yeah.
and he's being hunted by the syndicate.
I mean, isn't he always kind of?
Yeah, although
hiding?
this is the first time we've really invested in the kind of pursuit of Ethan Hunt. They go to a.
I mean, this time the IMF
this
time the IMF is fully shut down.
That's true.
The fourth one was they initiated Ghost Protocol, so they were sort of shut down.
But you thought,
it's
but they were
kinda
up and running
similar.
by the end of the movie.
Yes. In this one, the IMF is done, and he is really on the run. Yeah, they're really after him this time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they're always kind of after him.
But
He's
it's-
always in trouble. The IMF's always not doing what they're supposed to do, and which I feel like this movie does a good job of acknowledging and making kind of into a joke, and the whole Alec Baldwin storyline is great.
Yeah. He gets captured by them. How did you feel about that sequence? Looking back on it. shirtless
great.
cruise. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always into a shirtless cruise.
And did you
Hanging
notice
out,
that
doing stuff.
she takes her shoes off? She takes her shoes off twice in this movie, and this was released the same summer as Jurassic World.
Jurassic World, yeah. The whole Jurassic World controversy with Bryce Dallas Howard, people were critical of that movie for Bryce Dallas Howard wearing her high heels in the jungle throughout the whole movie, which was kind of ridiculous. And
running through the jungle
in
with the
this
high
movie,
heels.
yeah. In this, and running from a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yes.
In high heels.
In high heels, yeah.
This movie doesn't have that problem. No. She's so great.
Yeah.
Which, like Rebecca Ferguson, we should talk about, is so great. This is the first time that they've done in the Mission Impossible series kind of the female Ethan Hunt.
Yes.
It's similar to, like, with James Bond. They've done that with Spy Who Loved Me and Tomorrow Never Dies. And
Die Another Day.
And they did that. Right. And they've done that again. They've done that for the first time now in this series, which was, I thought she's great.
She's amazing. I noted, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, I look to you for facts, but 6 months later, I think is the longest time he's been on his own running from the CIA or mission.
I would think so.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big time jump. I don't know if they've done that before.
I mean, I think the biggest thing to take away, too, from his time on the run is he's really worked on his art skills.
Yes, the drawing skills are back again.
Yeah.
So this time we see sketches he's done of both Ilsa, which is Rebecca Ferguson's character, and Solomon Lane, which is the bad guy. So we see his sketch. So I hope in Fallout they bring it back again. I think it's cool. It's great. It's one of Ethan Hunt's. And I noticed in this one now, Ethan Hunt, I don't know if they've ever mentioned this before, has a photographic memory. Right? Because for the whole climax, he memorizes the whole thing, so that like he's the guy at the end. He's like, you have to kill me. I destroyed the.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I know everything. So you have to. Keep
he also
me alive.
knew exactly where to bring him in London, and
so I don't think they've ever had his photographic memory featured before. So each movie we find out more things about Ethan Hunt's legend, and
he's like a transformer. I will say that I made this note that after four used like iPads, iPhones, like very practical things. Part of that was because they were on the run. Also, it was just a way of sort of like making it more kind of relatable. We're back to like a more magical sense of technology. I feel like there's like, papers that unravel that are,
I mean, don't you think Ghost Protocol had some magical, whole like projector crazy.
Well, that was from the old show though.
Yeah, but the old show didn't change perspective. It was just a projector.
Right.
In this one, it like moves around based on the perspective of the person, which is amazing. But come on, that's magical technology.
But this was more magical, I feel like.
I guess so.
Plus an underground like water vault.
Yeah,
it was pretty crazy.
It is. Yeah, I love it.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So the big kind of like midpoint sequence. Well, what do you think is the big midpoint? Is it the opera or is it the Morocco?
Yeah, it's interesting because this one doesn't quite have the. I mean, it's probably more the motorcycle chase,
right?
But the opera is a really great sequence. We should talk about the opera in the first half. The opera is obviously a big reference to The Man Who Knew Too Much, the Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Yeah.
The whole timing of murdering somebody with the sheet music, the exact moment. And
which Godfather had the big opera sequence too? 3? 2?
3. I've only seen 3, maybe once.
Yeah.
I think as I don't recall a big opera.
Yeah,
I think it's 3. Benji has a really funny moment in the opera when he's stuck in the closet he's like, join the IMF, see the world on a monitor in a closet.
Yeah, the involvement of Benji is great. Yeah. That whole sequence where he gets handed the thing in the subway and all that is great.
And there's a funny moment with this when the sniper's height is revealed in comparison to Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Which again is another like that Jackie Chan has done that moment in so many movies. It's in like First Strike and all these movies. I feel like again Tom Cruise is like channeling Jackie Chan in these Mission Impossible movies. And another funny moment when they escape at the end and the flagpole falls down in the background as he and Ilsa are
He gives
escaping.
another good shrug while he's on the catwalk too.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean that opera sequence is really great. And some great focus racks, back and forth. Just the staging of the sequence is really great. And there's also a shot that sets up the opera right as it's starting. The lights dim and the camera cranes up and tilts down, and it's this really wide angle lens, so that you feel the warp of the tilt and the camera craning up. And again, we should talk about Robert Elswit because he returned for this movie.
Yes.
Cinematographer Robert Elswit did Ghost Protocol, came back for this movie.
First time cinematographer in 2 movies in a row.
Yeah, and he's one of my favorite DPs, so I loved what he did. It's again shot anamorphic. No IMAX this time. I love the color saturation.
Yeah.
The skin tones
Right.
are really warm. Like you really feel it in this one. It's a little different, I feel like, than the previous. And then it was shot on film. All the previous ones were shot on film, I think, entirely.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the first one that has some digital.
Oh.
So they used Alexa for some of it, and they also shot the underwater sequences supposedly with Alexa 65.
People are going to really care about that.
I care. I just, yeah.
Can I ask you about one of the music things that I noticed in this too? Is that he uses the back half of the theme a lot, not the kind of burst at the beginning, but
right.
It's really interesting and it's great, and it's used really well in that opera sequence along with the actual opera music.
Yeah, there's a lot of kicking up there too. Which, by the way, I counted the number of kicks. Tom Cruise's kicks in this one. He kicks 6 times, which doesn't include when he knees a bad guy once, but also. He needs to escape at the beginning, with a part where he's like handcuffed to that pole.
Yeah.
And he sort of lunge kicks upwards.
Oh, yeah.
4 times to get out of that quagmire.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know if you count those as kicks or not. He's not kicking people, but he was sort of lunge kicking himself out of a predicament. So at least 6 kicks in this one.
I can't believe
I still have to go back and count all the kicks in MI2.
I know, I was going to say, I can't believe we didn't. Yeah, we didn't count that. The conclusion of the opera sequence, too, is a reference to MI4 when he says that failure is just a rehearsal for success for terrorists.
Right.
Because they thwart this crazy thing and then the guy gets blown up anyway.
Right. Yeah. That's true. Yeah,
also, the boat is a reference to the train car from 4.
Right.
It seems like they were just
they've settled into this new world, I think, now.
Yeah.
Of what the IMF is. And I think since 3, but in particular since Ghost Protocol, it seems like Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation and Fallout are going to sort of be a trilogy.
Right.
It feels like, in a way. Yeah.
There's new mask technology. Can we talk about that?
What's the new mask technology?
It's not the rotary thing with that buzz saws out your face.
Okay.
It's sort of a like 3D print almost.
Oh, okay. Because they used that same in 3 and in Ghost Protocol. It was it's a new one this time. Okay.
And the Syndicate is maybe this is my area of confusion is described by different people as different things. Benji calls it the anti-IMF. Ethan Hunt calls it Rogue Nation. They've also got I made a note of this cool biker gang.
Who says cool biker gang?
I say that because they've got like matching leather and stuff. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I guess you could call them a cool biker gang. I wouldn't.
Because you're afraid of them coming after you, but.
Yeah, I don't want them to be mad.
So the
speaking of vehicles, though, this is the second movie in a row to have prominent product placement from BMW. So there's a lot of BMW.
There are.
And
are the motorcycles
I love
BMWs?
BMW. I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I love BMWs, so I'm cool with it.
You don't. You drive a Honda or something.
I know, but I wrecked my dad's '86 BMW when I was 16.
Okay.
And it saved my life. So,
there you go. So you're indebted.
It really did. I would have been dead. This van was barreling T-boned right where I was sitting.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
And my dad has never forgiven me for ruining his car. But
well, speaking of your dad, did he see this movie?
I don't know if he saw it. I told him to go see it, but I didn't see it with him. I told him it was good. Check it out.
Yeah, but
I never heard back. I'll have to. I'll check in with him and see.
Yeah, can you follow up on that?
I will. We should talk about his bosses.
Yeah.
Ethan Hunt's boss in this one. Most of the movie, there is no boss for the IMF, which is new. But at the very end, CIA Director Hunley, played by Alec Baldwin, becomes the new Mr. Secretary.
Right.
Which, by the way, that last sequence of the two of them, him and Renner walking off together and kind of laughing, feels like that so many episodes of the old show end exactly like that, where the guys walk off together and make one little joke and then laugh, and then that's the end of the episode. I swear that has to be a reference.
It's
good.
They
knew they were doing just like the old show.
But there's a special activities division. I wrote that down. I don't know who. I rewatched it a couple weeks ago.
They mentioned it?
Yeah, I thought that maybe would unlock something.
You know what was I thought I noticed this time that whole committee. They're they're presenting to the committee. To me, the committee was a reference to Alan Pakula's The Parallax View.
Interesting.
Which is, I love that movie so much with Warren Beatty from the 70s. The movie is just like Parallax View. The movie's bookended by these Senate committee hearings. Mm-hmm. And it's 7 guys on a panel in both movies. There's a circular seal above the middle guy, 2 lights on either end in the exact same spot. And they even do a shot that's head on, just like parallax view.
That's a picture of your dog.
Like, I'm pulling up a picture of my dog for you to see. But I do have a picture from this
wow.
parallax view. And that's
wow, that really is shot for shot.
Is Rogue Nation.
We'll put this up. We'll put this up
the same,
on
like
Twitter.
seal above them, and the lights, and the 7 guys, and it's head on, very clearly, and just like parallax view, which is bookended by these Senate hearings.
And also now,
and this one has the same thing.
And now Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom as well.
They also, do you think they were referencing?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think they were referencing Rogue Nation. I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe they were referencing Rogue Nation. They weren't referencing Parallax View. Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, and the whole line at the end too. Welcome to the IMF, Mr. Secretary.
Right.
And the two of them walk off laughing. It's great. Love it.
We're running out of time already, I feel like. But did you love the underwater sequence / motorcycle race or
the
what?
motorcycle race is really great. The whole chase.
Yeah.
So it's shot so well. The geography is so clear.
Great use of digital cars too. I feel like because they did some really impossible
they go
shots.
through. Yeah. So McQuarrie did a great car chase in Jack Reacher.
Yes.
And Robert Elswit, the DP, did a great ones in both The Town and The Bourne Legacy.
Yes.
And I feel like this is their powers combined.
Yeah.
And maybe better than all of those.
Right.
I think. And they create this, to me, magic.
Yeah.
I love this sequence. Is great. It's not really Mission Impossible to me. Just the whole chase. It's not like Langley. That's the midpoint sequence.
To me,
or like Dubai. Those are Mission Impossible sequences.
But Dubai has a car chase right after it. Just
right,
like this,
which is fine. It's fine.
I like that car chase.
It's fine, but it's I guess the thing is the Mission Impossible thing is the underwater part.
Yes,
that's the more. But it's no, you're right. That makes sense.
I mean,
the underwater part. So yeah, the motorcycle chase though is really great.
Yeah,
it's just a pure action sequence, and
we're going to talk about the marketing of these movies in a future episode. But I just remember that billboard on Hollywood and Highland that was like a super long billboard that was just him on the bike with the explosion behind him. It's an iconic image, and I love it.
Yeah.
And that was all him, too, in that underwater thing.
I got my Tom Cruise run tracker.
Let's hear it.
First movie, he runs 37 seconds. Second movie, he runs 25 seconds. Third movie, he runs 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Ghost Protocol, 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
Oh, wow.
This one, what do you think? It can be more? Less?
More. No?
Only 1 minute, 17 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
They pulled back on the running.
They pulled back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty
Not as much cardio.
And I think his hair is long again, kind of.
Well,
it's like 6 inches, maybe?
It is, but it's like the first one where he's had sort of, well, I guess his hair is short in the new one, though, too.
Yeah.
Is this the first one back-to-back short haircuts?
Do you think it's short in Rogue Nation? I feel like it's medium.
Do you have a picture?
I don't. But, I mean, it was longer in Ghost Protocol.
It was beautiful in Ghost Protocol.
It's beautiful in this, too.
I know, but he had the flow, the kind of like Farrah.
Yeah, the flow is nice.
Any more stats? But there is that
he's dead in this one. He dies, right?
Oh,
Ethan Hunt dies for 1 minute and 2 seconds, approximately.
Where did he die again?
He died at the climax of the third one,
right.
And that was for, what do you think, more or less?
Less.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
What?
He's dead for 2.5 minutes at the end of MI3. That's when, Michelle Monaghan does all the action. Yeah, he's been dead now for almost 5 minutes of his life.
All right, here's the theory. Every time he goes to the other side, he picks up a new ability.
Yeah, that's how he got the photographic memory. Yeah.
Any other stats we got it?
No, I don't know if I have any other stats, but I do have just a lot of little notes here and there, comments. I love Baldwin's line, "Hunt is the living manifestation of destiny."
Yeah.
Which is hilarious and amazing and great. And there's also when they reveal Hunt, and they do this push-in on Baldwin, and he just goes, "Hunt!" And he says it in this kind of scared way. It's so great.
Not a lot of masks in this one.
No,
but masks used for pivotal.
Yeah,
reasons.
It felt right.
Yeah,
and then the joke of Benji getting to use a mask.
Yeah,
he doesn't get to.
No.
but in a fantasy
forward,
sequence, they'd show him. Also in that same sequence with with Baldwin, there's this great. We actually talked about it. We were arguing over it. There's this point of view from the floor.
Yes.
Of Atlee, the MI6 guy. He does this POV shot from the floor, and it's a super wide lens with this great warping when it tilts.
Right.
You thought maybe it was blue screen. I just think it's a really wide lens that warps and the ceiling has so much intricate design in it that it warps when it's tilting.
I don't think everyone was in that sequence at the same time.
I think there's some pickups in that scene. Yeah. I think there's some shots of Baldwin that look like they're in front of a blue screen.
Yeah.
But not that shot, that wide. That would be hard to pull off, I think, as a visual effect. But I think there are some little moments with Baldwin that feel like they were added.
How do we feel about Renner's sort of like, not reduced necessarily, but shifted role in this? And I don't think he's in the new one at all.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's in the new one. I thought he was used really well in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see him more as part of the team. I like to see whenever the whole team is out there and they're all doing things, at the same time to accomplish a mission. That's always to me the best. But I'm just happy to have him around. You know? And I'm excited to have. Well, we'll talk about the new one when we see it.
Are there more people? Are there? Because remember, McQuarrie initially had teased that there were more people.
Yeah,
coming back.
Supposedly both Paula Patton and Maggie Q were set to return, but had scheduling conflicts
for this one.
Yeah, I would have loved that because I think Paula Patton in particular, I think is great, and I would have really liked to.
She didn't have any scheduling conflicts.
I don't know. Maybe she's had kids, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she was pregnant or something.
What about Thandie Newton? We got to bring her back.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that too. I mean, I think I would like to see the females return more.
Yeah,
there's some great. There've been great members of the team that should be used.
How do we feel about the third act? Again, deliberately contained, not as big as Morocco or the opera.
Right. So again, we have this kind of pyramid structure.
But a kick-ass foot chase through London, which is brutal. Again, at the end of this movie, he is like so beat up.
Right.
And it's kind of a nifty little thematic thing. I mean,
I think I was a little disappointed. It's just so much smaller.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was a little disappointed. But watching it this time, it's really satisfying when they put the bad guy in the box.
And they push him.
When they put him in the box and he's shooting at them and he can't do anything.
Yeah. This is the first Mission Impossible from a writer-director, correct? JJ has a story credit.
JJ, he might even have a co-writer credit, I think. Yeah, I mean, Bird is technically a writer-director, but he didn't have a writing credit on Ghost Protocol.
But you really feel like this is McQuarrie's thing.
Yeah, and Drew Pearce, who co-wrote Iron Man 3 with Shane Black, he has a story credit
but
as well.
Did not. I don't think he moved into the production phase.
Right. Well, the only credit for screenplays is McQuarrie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's story by McQuarrie and Drew Pearce.
So Drew Pearce probably said like, wouldn't it be cool if we had the syndicate?
I feel like he probably was there early on coming up with set pieces and things.
Yeah.
Because they sort of built the plot around the set pieces. Another returning crew person, James Bissell, production designer, returned from Ghost Protocol. He had done E.T. and Jumanji and did a great job with this one too.
I love that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the gadget boat being reminiscent of the gadget train makes sense with
what do you think's
with
gonna be
Bissell
the next
returning.
One?
I don't know.
We should just do a speculation episode of just things that we think are gonna
I think by the time this episode of our podcast comes out, the movie will already be out.
Yeah.
But we'll find out when we see it and do our episodes about it.
Yeah.
Also, I want to talk about location title cards.
Okay.
You know how I love to talk about that.
Yeah.
This time we're back to both city and country.
Which hasn't been
it's
around
like
since
London,
when?
England. Well, they've sort of rotated back and forth. I think the first movie did only city. Now they've bounced around. This time it's back to city and country, and it's a sans serif black.
Okay.
But also sometimes white.
They're usually white, right?
I think they're usually white, but this time they kind of went back and forth depending on how dark or light the background of this shot was. So sometimes black, sometimes white, and this time they typed out, which is new.
Oh, they
typed out. They typed
the
sort of
X-Files file.
Yeah, they typed out the title card. So
interesting.
Like the little location cards. So
a
little new. Just trying things out.
I would love to see a Quantum of Solace style commitment to location cards, different fonts, different, three-dimensional.
Yeah.
I think it would just add a little something.
I don't know. I liked the big bold ones from the first movie.
So if you get the next movie, you would just stick with the big bold?
If I get a medium for the next movie, the first thing I'm going to pitch is big, crazy, bold ideas for the location title cards.
Yes.
They're going to love it.
They are. They are. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I think so. We should talk about how Tom Cruise in this movie, in Rogue Nation, is only 5 years younger than John Voight was in the first movie.
Oh, interesting.
So how crazy is that?
But he's still not.
And now he's 3 years closer to John Voight's age in the first one for Fallout.
Right.
So, and he's still out there in the field going 100%.
Yeah.
So Jim Phelps had some serious city miles on him. And I think, Ethan Hunt's taking care of himself better.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's like the nutritionist at the IMF or the strength and conditioning coach that they have there.
Yeah.
Keeps them in good
smoothies and not a lot of junk food.
Yeah, I think they changed. I'm sure Phelps is upset about that.
Well,
he just now,
but maybe it was the job too, because Ethan sort of offered that job at the end of the first one. He doesn't really take it. He's still a field agent and the rest.
No, but Phelps he's in the Phelps role now.
But what was Phelps's title?
They're IMF agents.
Okay. But he wasn't
We've talked about this before. Phelps is still he was in the field. He wasn't just like not doing stuff.
But he was sitting in a hotel room. Well, they're all running around all over the place.
Oh, in the first movie.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's just the first movie. In the show, the whole,
Wait, is your pitch for the next movie going to be a Phelps prequel?
I want Dan Briggs back in the first season. I think they should bring in Dan Briggs into the movie series. I think it would be really cool.
Well,
maybe when Cruise gets to the point, in however many years he decides to take more of a mentor role.
Right.
Maybe they bring in like a new star. Maybe it should be a female star this time.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not Dan Briggs.
How much longer do you think he's going to be making these movies?
I don't know. Forever, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too.
But I think it would be cool as he gets older that if he did become more of a mentor, and we get younger people in to like that he can mentor. Yeah, he doesn't have to do that quite yet, but But
he could be
when
like
the time comes.
He could be like the Robert Redford in Civil
I'd also
War.
love to see some of them. Right now I know they've settled into this groove of these big action. The tone of it is what it is, but I think it'd be cool to go into like maybe do they'd never do this, but like a smaller like 70s spy thriller type movie that just do one like that. I think it'd be cool. There's just so much you could do.
Yeah.
But I think right now they're in such a good groove. I think until
they're doing a lot.
Until one of them doesn't quite do as well, I think then they'll pivot and do something different.
Well, look forward to seeing that version of your title cards, 70s spy thriller.
Yeah.
Dan Briggs.
Yeah.
Done.
They're gonna love it.
They're gonna love it. They're listening now.
And audiences will be like, "This sounds really boring."
And you're gonna be like, "But we're gonna shoot on Alexa 70." And then everybody's back in. They can't wait to see it.
Yeah, they're really excited.
Well, any final thoughts on Rogue Nation?
I was really impressed. I couldn't believe. I don't know. I just didn't remember it being this great. I think going into Fallout. That'll obviously change everything. But to me, my top 3 is the first movie, and then Ghost Protocol, and then this.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty close to each other.
Yeah.
I don't
the craftsmanship, the commitment from the actors. Rebecca Ferguson joining the cast was a huge win.
Yeah. The humor really works.
It's
like the whole car chase when like Luther and Brandt are trying to track down Hunt and Benji,
funny.
And when they run into each other next to each other. I mean, that's just a really funny moment.
What actually happens in the movie is really anybody's guess, but it doesn't really matter.
No,
and
you're
we're on board.
Too much about that.
We're on board.
To me, it's like I don't know. I have to watch it again. It's like we've talked about how the first movie people complained that it was too complicated.
Yeah.
But once you've seen it a couple of times and you really can understand what's happened, then
but you and I have both seen this movie a half dozen times.
3.
And
we're still trying to.
Yeah.
But to me, it doesn't seem like. I don't know.
It doesn't impede your enjoyment of the movie. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That's fine. And then I think that's it for this episode of Light the Fuse.
Yeah, we're excited to jump into Fallout, and I think we're also going to do an episode about unmade missions.
Yeah.
The unmade ones like David Fincher and Oliver Stone. And
if you have any suggestions for episodes, please let us know.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. And before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod and email us questions or comments at lightthefusepodcasts@gmail.com. If you'd like to watch the original Mission Impossible television show, all 7 seasons are currently available to stream on Amazon Prime. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.